Hey everybody, welcome back to some more content with the same clothes we had on in the last video.
Psychedelic research. Oh my god, took
Yeah.
Noah skating today.
Oh, how was that?
It was skating, it was good. Plus I got myself my own skate, so the fact that I just got to put my feet and only my feet, it just felt great. But I took her skating and one of the men who worked at the rink was like he was like, that shirt is funny because I mean it's shrooms in your brain and all kinds of stuff. And he was like, I'm 14 years sober, but it's still funny as hell. And I was like, didn't mean to trigger anything. He was like, you didn't.
Well, good. So, here, Life After Lockup, Always the Bad Guy is the title of the episode.
Before we start, they have a new disclaimer, and you have to really be listening to catch it. But they changed it because Buffalo Chicken Tender, because of her. So now it says, if you or someone you know is dating an inmate or multiple inmates, please email. And I was like, look at Buffalo Chicken Tender, changing the game.
Black women making an impact, making change.
Even
it's
if
not
it's not
just
good.
one. We can scam them all. Yeah. And what kills me about her is the fact that she's not getting anything from this except some weird, I don't know how to deal with my daddy issues.
No, that's,
you know
that's full issues.
It'd be different if she was getting money from them instead of she's fighting over a shirt, you know?
Yes.
But we'll see more of her in October.
Yes.
Yeah.
Continue.
So where do you want to start this week with the bitches? I do want to apologize first if you guys can hear what's going on in my hallway, because my property management company decides that, you know, time is a construct.
Yeah.
And they decide to do things whenever. So like last night, somebody moved out across the hall from me, and over the weekend, and about like 8:30 and stuff, they were just hammering away, installing drywall.
Wait a minute. Are there rules and laws to the city?
I don't know.
Because I fully called 311 on them white men across the street when they were doing construction on a Sunday morning. And I got that ass fined twice.
Yeah, I gotta ask the property management, not just my property manager, because she allows her little minions. I also am surprised y'all can't hear that. They sound like rats running through drop ceiling.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, well, it's bad. Like, don't ever live on the first floor if you don't have to. Like,
oh no, that's a hard rule for me.
Yeah, and technically I don't live on the first floor, but I do live on the first floor, you know, because there's stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm
sorry.
Anyway, where do you want to begin?
Jim and Lil Daryl?
Oh, okay. You want to go with the big guns.
Oh,
right.
I mean, they were the first on my list, but let's see. Hold on.
I mean, we can.
Yeah,
don't mind.
fuck it.
Don't matter to me.
Fuck it, we ball.
Right. So, we open with them with Jim, totally outrageous, doing construction, DK, in Payless or Dot's versions of Manolo Blahnik Timbs. Yeah, Wally World, high-heeled Timberlands. Whatever those are.
Timber, B-U-R-R, Lens.
Yeah.
Lugs. Yeah. And pom-pom shorts and a camisole. I said, if this shit ain't staged, I don't know what.
Yeah, I was like, here we go again, Sharp Entertainment. pissing on our shoes and telling us that it's raining. Because even her, I don't see her wearing that to work in a construction. Like I know she a little woo, but she don't give me Bernice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she don't give me like, I'm a hot girl. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
she gives
I
me
will
like,
say
yeah,
she's
I'm
changed up
bitch,
her fashions are still at the same price point, but she's changed them up a bit from when she was with Grandpa Simpson, Pussy Mouth.
Yeah. Well, that's because he kept her in like, you know, like clothing from like she's been kidnapped and captured and shit.
Yeah, like dressed like you're 13.
This is the first time she actually
sick.
did stuff. Yeah.
Because I was like, she fully was wearing jazzy shoulder hot pink shirts and side ponies and bandanas, and there was a lot more happening before.
She was, you know, she's entering her Saturn's return, and so she realizes that she needs to.
She's like, I've got to shop at the casual corner.
Exactly.
Fair.
So, you know, she's talking to us. She's giving us her Nene speech. You know, like, I have arrived. You know, I live in, you know, wherever she lives. You know, with Ernest Saves Christmas, and she makes $10 an hour. And, you know, everybody says this. She was like, you know, this doesn't compare to what I would have made as a drug dealer. Duh, because
bitch, because you're making
like you were
living.
selling, right? You were selling dope fastly. Like,
yeah, what do you think? It's never going to equal. What do you mean?
Yeah, like girl, give it up, turn it loose. So they down at the business park installing drywall and things, and so Ernest goes to jail, is laying on the flirting thick. Like, he's just like, you know, hey, you know, really, if this would have been like a cautionary, like, sexual harassment videotape back in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, this would have been the demonstration.
Like, you have some lint on your shirt, Mrs. Weckerly. Like that kind of thing. Like, you know, like, you didn't even try, sir. Meanwhile, Deonte is coming for a visit.
Yes.
And, you know, we've known for a while that she don't really like him like that. Like, she likes the idea of him.
But she don't like him.
Yeah. And she don't really know how to... I haven't heard a car alarm in a very long time.
I don't want to hear a car alarm.
So, yeah, she don't really like Deonte like
that. No.
And
she's very me about it. You know, back when I used to date niggas, that didn't sound, back when I used to date, I told you, Jerry Seinfeld syndrome. Like, it'd be the smallest thing, and I'd be like, ooh, I'm fully turned off by you. And why did I ever like you? And that's the energy that she has with him. Like, he breathes, and she is annoyed. And granted, he breathes, and I am annoyed. You know, because as we'll get into a little bit more into this episode, well, you know what? We'll get to it. So, yes, Deonte's in.
Yeah, because I understood where they both were coming from, but mainly I was on his side this whole time and I hated it. So, but I understood where she was coming from too, because I low-key been down this road. So, you know, he's coming for a visit because it's her birthday.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's like, oh, you know, come and pick me up at the job. I'm here. You know, again, his insecurities are coming up. So you with Ernest, you know, goes on vacation. Like, I don't...
Well, he was peeking through the window, and it looked like, of course, production may look like they was about to kiss, but Ernest goes to jail, kisses her forehead, and he's all in the window, and he sees him kiss her forehead, and then when he pull up, you know, she's coming out of work, she gives him a hug or whatever, and he don't greet her, he don't say hello, he don't say boo, how are you? You tired? Would you like a sip of water? He goes, that was a friendly ass hug, huh? That was long as hell, huh? And I don't know no friends to be kissing each other on the forehead like that. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Also mentioning that Ernest goes to prison and decided to confess his feelings.
Knowing that little Daryl was
Lindsay.
half an hour en route. Half an hour away.
Right. Right. So, you know, like Jade said, he kissed her on the forehead and he sees it and whatever. Now, they get in the car and they start to get into it. And they have a full conversation, and a rightful one, like a right one. Like, Deonte expresses, like, you know, listen, I don't know what's going on. I can tell you there's an energy shift, but you refuse to acknowledge and tell me what's going on.
Right.
And you tell me you love me and all this good stuff. At least just let a nigga know, so I'm not wasting my time or yours. And he's just kind of like, you know, you don't tell me you love me anymore. He's like, it seems like I'm annoying you. And she's like, you know, well, you do call me incessantly, you do all this. And he's like, well, A, if you would answer the phone and you would tell me that X, Y, and Z, I would chill, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, I keep calling because you don't answer. So
that's where I'm going to have to stop you, because don't fucking call my phone and force me to answer my phone because you want me to answer. Now, granted, he wasn't wrong with the majority of what he was saying. It was my own... No. It was this episode where I realized maybe I'm not the best person, because I didn't want to be on either one of their sides, but he's so aggravating. I feel it firsthand. You know how people get firsthand embarrassment? I get firsthand irritation. And so I had extreme irritation as he continued to talk. And then I would get more irritated because I'm like, he's not wrong, but also, nigga, you aggravating as fuck. And so he says in his little, and then he thinks it's funny because, you know, one of those little offshoots that they usually put in between commercials, he says, yeah, I call her back to back to back to back to back until she picks up the phone. That's the only way I'm gonna stop calling. You don't know if she's with her kid. You don't know if she's at work. Why would you want to impede on that? Like, it's shit like that where I'm like, I can't root for you even when you right.
Right. And, you know, they still arguing in the car, and she tells him that, you know, yeah, I know how you feel. I'm your third inmate. and
Sharp
he's like,
shadily puts up inmate number one montage. And inmate number 2.
Now remember, the inmate number 1 is the one that passed away a while before Nkoye. I feel like every time Nkoye gets on the screen, it's like a drinking game. Like, we should take a shot. Like, woo, yay, Nkoye sighting.
Yes.
So
yes.
She gets fed up and doesn't want to hear him being right anymore.
Yeah.
So she gets out the car at a yellow light.
Mood.
She gets out the car and just sits down on this cafe table that happens to be outside. She pulls over and she tells him she's not happy and that he's a bugaboo, and she just got out and she's just trying to focus and do her right now.
And she's not cruel about it, because she tells him that he's a good person and he deserves for somebody to love him in the way in which he does and put forth the same kind of effort, but she just ain't got it right now.
Right. And yeah. But in the car, he says to her some wild shit. He says, if you know your man is uncomfortable with you staying with somebody, shacking up, wouldn't you do whatever you can to get out of that situation? He was like, why couldn't you get a room? Why do you have to stay with him? She was like, nigga, I'm on parole. I can't just rent a room. I'm not allowed legally. What are you talking about, dummy? And he was like, well, I've known people on parole and they do what they can. And he was like, well, why didn't you ask me and we could have figured something out?
First of all, we on our like second date, maybe third. Like, I'm not coming to you for living arrangements. If for whatever god awful reason you want more Jade and XD, make sure you subscribe to us on Patreon.